This week be signing Marcethan Carter and Hunter Long healthy this week?
No, we feel that was more you try to get in front of potential situations. We don't have a situation now, but we are very close to having one. So instead of Chris Greer and the staff do a great job of staying in front of that stuff, so you get that done on the front end. So should we have any more issues at the position, we know exactly where we want to go. So that was the purpose of that whole deal. And right now we feel good about Hunter and Sethan in terms of the progress that they've made.
Is Sethan out of concussion protocol?
Well, the protocol is that he's I don't know when the protocol ends, but he's still protocoled. So he's and that's the protocol for me to explain that. But he's doing well and progressing. He was watching walkthrough from a stationary bike, sweating, and that's always a good sign.
Mike, you guys won 7 straight at Hard Rock Stadium. When you look at home field advantage, do you think it's a venue and a location, or is it the team that plays at that venue and location?
I think, I think it's a little bit of both, for sure. There's something to be said, about the team that's playing in front of their fans. It takes the human beings to appreciate what the home crowd is doing. And then it takes a home crowd that's vested and committed. And I think both of those things are occurring. I can tell, I obviously wasn't here last year, but the feedback that I got from the first game, from all the players really, was that they could tell the difference in that there was added excitement and really energy. And that helps players more than fans can realize. When you bring the juice, football players are normal human beings as well, where they can feel that, and it energizes them to push them possibly beyond where they'd otherwise go.
Mike, is it a bit of a cram this week with the Monday night for the Bills, getting the game plan for today ready?
No, if you don't have... if it's a new, coordinator or a new head coach, that's a bigger issue. When you have, I've been fortunate to be in the NFL long enough to know exactly, really for all the way back from the Carolina days, Coach, and Coach Frazier, but they've both done a great job, and so you kind of understand, like any really good high-level coaches, they have a principality to them, a starting point, and then it's whether or not they're doing little nuances within it, points of emphasis. But, just like you guys know that regardless if it works or not, you're going to see outside zone. I know exactly they're going to play unbelievable, strenuous defense. They're going to play hard and run to the ball, and they're going to force you into mistakes because they can get home with their 4-man rush. So it's always good to see, and you get different. You get a different perspective of where they're at, especially game 2. But it didn't really put us behind, just because they're. That defense in general, it's kind of like what it is. That's what I appreciate so much about it, is because they're not hiding from what they are. They say, we're going to take our guys and line up, and we're going to play the same type of defense against every offensive structure, and our guys are really good players that play hard for each other, and do something about it is what they kind of do. So in this circumstance, it wasn't that big a deal.
Mike, you played against Josh Allen with San Francisco in 2020, right? What was your first impression of him then, and how have you seen him grow in the 2 years?
Yeah, well, it goes further than that. Saw his growth in Wyoming. That's what was really cool. It was an example of young in his career. The guy's a giant with the giant arm, but he had kind of like a a stigma about accuracy or something that I think each year in his college career he drastically improved. You can tell, which was a big deal to me with him coming out, because you learn a lot, not by hearing but by seeing. And what you could see was a guy diligently working at his craft, who's however old he is. So fast forward to the league, and I think we've all been witnesses to, he's steadily become, one of the best players in the National Football League. Easily could argue he's the best one. And that it's not because he's God's gift, it's because he's unbelievably talented, but it's because you can tell more than that, it's because he works at his craft. He's developing every time he's on the field. He's a really, really good player that you'll never, I don't think, see him stopped necessarily. It's about minimizing and containing.
Mike, I'm going to share, when you first found out you had Tyreek Coach and Waddle together, was there some kind of vision aiming at what you could scheme up with the two of them, and was last Sunday sort of some validation of that coming to fruition?
Yeah, I don't think, it's always kind of difficult to, I hadn't personally been around two players in the same position group of that caliber. I think, it's the what if you had two is an exciting thought. But then, more than anything, I tried not to get ahead of myself with any of it. You're trying to acquire, you're trying to get your hands on some talented players for our quarterback to throw to, as well as to hand it to, and et cetera, et cetera. But you kind of, I think it's important to put stuff in the players' hands and kind of see how they digest all the stuff, and really how they, to kind of let your offensive scheme evolve. So I wouldn't say I would envision it, and I probably didn't allow myself to hope that they would be that productive on a given game. But the best thing about it is I don't think, if you ask them point blank if they were very happy with the game, I think they were happy with being able to make plays. But there's a lot of stuff for them to clean up, especially in the first half. So while they were making plays, I that's not the final product of the vision to me. I think the final product is better execution with other things that where they're not at the point of attack, and then offensively it would be everyone. I don't think you ever want to go that extreme with targets. I think the best your offense can be is when you can distribute the ball. But shoot, I'm not going to argue with hot hands. So I'm also not hard-headed that way. So I think there's a lot more to see from them for the rest of the course of the season. But they also know that's on them to develop their game within the offense, because I'm pretty sure every other defense also took note and will have a plan to get in front of them as well.
Tyreek said after the game it looked like you were playing Madden and your play calling in the fourth quarter. What is your experience playing Madden as a play caller, if you had it all?
I've taken. Yeah, I don't know about all that. I think when players are doing some video game stuff, it can look like it has maybe some to do with me, but I don't think it has anything to do with me. I think that's players executing plays. And as far as, I was a college football. I used to love, back in college, that's probably when I last really did it, and I was more into like building the program for like whatever it was. I'd be like the Colorado Buffaloes, and they'd be a historic national championship team, which you can tell is a video game. Which nothing against. I mean, I love the Colorado Buffaloes still, but with Madden, I never really. Once they started taking it to the next level, where you could do multiple buttons for multiple moves and stuff, I'm kind of like a poor sport. So when I can't dominate, I just tap with stuff like that. Like, so my video game prowess isn't that high, to be honest, and I really haven't played since I was, a couple years ago in college, which is like 20 now. So.
Mike, I wanted to ask you a Mike McDaniel fashion question. Made some waves with the sunglasses on Sunday.
I did?
You did. On social media a little bit, they were noticed. The watches, the shoes, you seem to have a little bit of swag, so to speak. Where does that come from? How long have you had that going on?
Well, if you've been to your optometrist lately, you'd know that there's which I did trying to get contacts here, is they let me know that I had some sun damage in my eyes. And so how do you protect that? You wear sunglasses. Watches are important to tell time. And I like to know what time it is. There's nothing worse than the boss that's like, what time is it? But outside of that, I think, I just think, I don't even think about it, to be honest, which is probably get some judgment from here or there. But I think it's important when you do have the opportunity to be in a leadership role if you're going to ask people to be honest with themselves and take an honest look at how they approach their stuff, I think it's important to lead by example. I don't want people feeling judged about trivial things, because I think that's an opportunity cost. Every time if you're trying to sit here and guess what I expect you to act like, that seems like the most inefficient process known to man. And when you're doing that opportunity cost, you're not thinking about what's important. So I think it's important from my vantage point to worry about the stuff that I think is important to my job and them and the players and the team. And to be honest, I don't put that much thought outside of my normal thought. I like shoes, so then I'm like, hey, on a given day, that shoe looks cool, I'll wear that. But yeah, outside of that, I was just trying to keep my retinas protected and know what time it is.
Mike, I don't know if you've crossed paths with Ken Dorsey at any point in your career, but he's a big name down here, obviously, winning a title with the Hurricanes. What impresses you? What's impressive about him as an offensive coordinator?
I've known, I was in that generation very enamored with, I always thought he was like, I respect really thin ballers, because like if you're balling in a bunch of chaos, it means you're kind of fearless, otherwise because you'd probably break. So as a player, I loved him. As a coach, it's been very impressive, just because it's no tall task to replace the guy he replaced. Offense has had a ton of success, so that is a subconscious burden, and you're interested to see how people react to that. I think what's been obvious on tape, and I don't know him personally, but watching the tape, is he is not, what do you call it, rinse and repeat, or he's not just doing what they've done, which I respect, and takes some guts. I think he's done what they do well, and then it's obvious that he's locked into what the quarterback likes, but he's also, you can tell he's working at it, because there's different presentations of things and different concepts week in, week out, which is very telling to me. So I respect the not only the coaching that he's doing, but I respect his authenticity for whatever he wants to be, because people really didn't know. And what I do know is if you do anything a little different and it doesn't work, you leave yourself vulnerable for naysayers. So I really respect the fact that he's done whatever he's done for the right reasons, which is obvious on tape.
How about player for you?
Yeah, how about that? It's awesome. It's a team award to me, and but an award that he tremendously deserves, because when you're around a guy and you see him work amongst noise and you see him, I mean, who doesn't appreciate an earned achievement? You know, I think he's done a great job handling all the stuff that he can control and not worrying about the stuff he can't. And I think our entire team felt a little ownership too, because they all have his back. And if as an organization we'd allow it, you'd hear a ton more rants from players because they see him work each and every day. And like I said on whenever I talked to you guys last, it was can't remember the day. That I don't think his teammates were totally surprised. They were just excited.
What's stacking is something coaches talk about a lot, stacking good days on good days.
Mm-hmm.
What's the next stack for Tua after a record day?
Oh, I mean, it's using that day in a beneficial manner moving forward. So what that means to me is, I mean, situations, numbers, all those things. I'm not talking about statistically his rating or any of that stuff. It's that understanding that using that game for confidence, understanding how he got there. That was a ton of prep on the game week, and harnessing that moment where he, you know, the worst pick, the second pick he threw was the worst that he's thrown in practice or games for me. And what he did after that, that's something to hold on to. So I think stacking, you know, it's impossible. People are too good. Teams are too good. Coaches are too good. You're just not going to get better stats week in, week out. It's bigger than that. It's how he approaches his position and whether or not, you know, if he feels himself pressing like he did when he threw that second pick, how fast can you get out of that yourself and utilize that whole experience for confidence moving forward.